stay tuned as we design this landing page together from scratch. The only thing we are not going to design from scratch will likely be the header, which is the navigations and every other thing on the header. But we are going to design everything from scratch, from adding the background image, the text and everything. So stay with me as we start the design. So I'm going to come to my home page. As you can see, I'll come to my home page. So what I want to do is to delete the whole thing and start afresh so that you see how we put everything in place. So that's how that is what I'm going to do. So while we wait for our Elementor to load, notice that we have some icons. So these icons, I took them from flat icon. Yeah, I took them from flat icon. This is where I took the icons from. I downloaded it as SVG and I upload it and use it. So mind you that what we are building here, what we are about to build is very simple and straightforward. It's not something that's gonna take a very long time. So this is the design. This is the design. So what we use here is basically everything used on this side to build this hero section is basically with atomic elements. As you can see, these are all the atomic elements we have, from the atomic elements to atomic form. So we make use of all these things. We don't use anything down here. So everything that comprises of this, including the header here, is built with atomic elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this so that we start afresh. So I'm going to delete this over here. So let's delete this. Okay, so we have deleted the main container. As you can see, we have a new canvas, blank canvas so far. So what we are going to do is to bring in a new canvas and start our design. So first thing first, let's bring in a new canvas to design. So I'm still having my screen here. So the first thing is to bring in a new canvas that will hold the background, hold the text, and also hold this. So that's what we are going to bring in. So open it. No, that is not what I wanted to do. Let me delete that. I will do something. So this is okay. I think that is what I wanted to. Okay. Let's use that. And from there, let me bring in two containers. So what I'm going to bring in two containers is that if you notice, we have this container. There is a container that is holding this particular text, this hero text here, and there is a different container holding this one, and behind the scene there is a container here as well. So I like using two containers instead of using one particular container. So that one will hold this and one will hold this. So as I was saying, so we need to put one, two, and inside this other one we need to have two boxes inside here, which we use one to control and we use one to give the free space here. I will now use this one. So what I will do is very simple. So I will come down here. Let me just come back. So I already have one. So what I will do is to duplicate. So to duplicate, I do Control D to duplicate the flex box inside. So the first thing I need to do is go into this one and insert two other containers. I'm going to duplicate it. As you can see, we have two containers. So now you may say, okay, let's first of all add the background image to the main container. So this is the main container. Let's rename it hero core. Let's call it hero core. Then we call this text core. Call this text core. Why did I need it? And we call this search core. So okay, so we go back to the sorry, I made a mistake here. It's supposed to be hero. So we are on the hero core. So now the problem we have with uh, atomic elements is very basic, that we cannot put background image directly the way we normally put. So I don't want to write much code. I don't want to use much code because I don't want to start writing code here and on there. So what I want to do is, instead of writing code, I will just put it as an overlay. I'll put the background as overlay. So I've already imported all the image I want to use. So this is the one I'm going to use. So that's the image. So what I need to do is to position it center, center, and no repeat, cover. So that is it for the background. That's all I need to do on the background. So now, mind you, I'm using local. I'm not creating any class or any variable for this particular content. So what I want to do is I'll come back to sizing. So I'll go to the height. I'll change it to VH. So on the VH, I'll give it 100 because that's how long I want it to be. So I give it 100. So you can see, how it is. 100, it covers everywhere. 100. So the next thing to do is go back to the layout. So on the layout, I need to centralize these things here. I need to bring them down. So I don't want it to be hanging at the top. So now I'm basically done with the hero, the background image. You can see the way I add the background image. So now the next thing I want to do is to add this text here and this button and everything. So inside this text call, this text container, what I need to do is to add another two containers. So the first thing to do here is to add two different containers. So let me use div block. So I add the first one, I duplicate, then I come back to this, the parent container, and I go back in here and I drop it down. So now we have two containers. So I need to remove every padding on this one. So I come to spacing and remove it to 0. I do the same thing here, remove it to 0. So now the next thing I'm going to do now is to add this text. So these two texts. Now the problem we are having is that if you see the previous Elementor header, if we are using this particular header, if you are using this one, you can write your HTML inside, something like your span. You can write your span code, write your span, your normal HTML code inside, and you notice it's not reflecting. Let me give it a color. You see, it's not showing the span. But if you use atomic heading does not permit anything CSS. So now the reason why Elementor did this is to prevent all those scripting that they normally do. You know, people do write scripting and it will affect uh, code. So now you see this one is still showing. So we have only one way to achieve what we have here, this particular. So what brings up that stuff is because of this. So we will achieve this. So just hold on with a very few lines of code, just maybe 2-3 lines of code. So what we are going to do first is to bring this. So both of them are going to be on a different line. So the first, let me take this out. I'm not using this. So let's use this. So I'm going to give it this and I'll duplicate. And I will have this. We can have this. So this is not the fonts we are going to use. So by default, I've already created the font style that I want to use. So I will just go, you can see it's called Playful Display. So this Playful Display is what I'm going to use for the headings. So I'm going to use this. So mind you, I need to change this to H1. Let me call this H1. It's just for normal. So I will give this 500, or let me just say 600. I'll give it 600, then I'll give it 100. Let's stick to 100 pixel. So I will copy this, paste this style so that I can have the same style. I don't want to waste time doing one thing two times. So, okay, the next thing is to bring in paragraph, and I need to copy this paragraph here. I need to copy this paragraph down here. So we paste this paragraph here. So I already also have the paragraph, which is poppins. I'm using poppins. This is poppins font. So I give it 18. Give it 18, 500, and let's change the color to white as well. So you notice that I'm not creating any class because I don't really have need for those classes. I'm not literally going to use any of the classes, so I don't really need them. So since I'm not going to use any of the classes, so I don't really need to bring them on board. So I don't really need them. So okay, now the next thing is to grade these buttons. So before we grade the buttons, let's do something. So now you notice that we need to add this we need to add something here. We need to add the home here. So now for me to be able to add this home, that was the reason why I created this header for my heading. So with this my heading, so what I did there is simple, it's very simple. If you go to my site settings, all I did is to use after studio class. So I use after studio class. This is just it. So let me zoom in so that you see what I did there. As you can see, don't know if you can see my screen. So this is what I did on that my heading. So I give it an after studio with the content of home, with the bold color and a little pad margin length of 20 pixels. So that is what I did there. So going back, so I don't want the video to be that long, that lengthy. So I need to like shortcut things from how I did it. So what the next thing I need to do here is very simple, is to add. So here now I need to add the button. So this is the button. So this button, I'm going to style it from down up. Okay, I wanted to copy this thing, but it's not copying. So let's type it out. Let's type it out. Explore properties. Explore properties. Yeah, so that's it. So I need to style this a bit. So let me just quickly changes. So the first thing is I already set up the color. So this is the gold color that I want to use. That's the gold color I want to use. So I fix that. So I come here, change it to popping 18, I think 16. Let me give it 16. 16 text. What color you want? Okay, I use white. So let me leave it at white. Let's make it 18. It was 18 that I used earlier. So 18, 500. Okay, so I come down to border and I give it 10, a 5. So let's check how it is. Okay, I think that's good. So I come back to the parent container here. So I want to give some space between the button and the text. So let me just give it 20. Let's leave it at 40. Say 50. So that we have more space. I think this is too bold. Let's keep it at 400. Let's keep it at 400. So at 400. So now the next thing is for us to, I want to expand this button. I want to expand this button. Okay. So I want to expand, I want to add some. If you notice this other button, you see it's a little bit bigger. So I want to make this one bigger. I want to make this one that same size. So what I need to do is to come to the spacing, here. So I will say, let me give this one 15, 15, and maybe this one 40, 40, 40. So I think that should be enough. Okay, let's stick to this. Let's stick to this side. So I've I've worked on this button. Since it's not going anywhere right now, let's just leave it this way. Let's just leave it this way. So the next thing is to add this other button, this watch video button. So now the trick there is very simple. So since the new atomic element, you cannot directly add button, or like you cannot directly add icon to it as the normal other button. So we need to deploy a different method to do that. So for us to be able to add that, so this is what we are going to do. We are going to bring in this flex box. So we are going to bring in this flex box. So inside this flex box, we bring in two stuff here. We bring in, first thing we are going to bring is going to be this SVG, and we are going to bring in header. So within this, let's just style it. Let's just style it to suit what we want. So this, we are going to bring in the SVG. So I've already imported the SVG that I wanted to use. As I said earlier, I take it from flat icons. So you can check flat icons for any icons you want to use. They have amazing icons, nice lightweight icons as well. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to use this. So in here, what I need to do is very simple. Change the color to white. That's the first thing. So I'll go to my typography. I'll change the color to white, because that's the first thing. So for the size, and I'll go to the size. So I don't need it this big. So let's say 25. Let's keep it as 25, 25. So I come to the text. So what I want to do is watch video. So it's watch video. So I can just come to my typography. Let me use my phone. Poppins and 18,500 and white. So you might ask, why didn't I just create the white variable color at once? I didn't just want to do that. So what I need here is very simple. I'll just give it a value of 20, or let's say 15. Let's leave it at 15. So we come back here because we want it to stand together with this one. So we come back here, go to layout, we flex it. As simple as that. So we can come here and say 50, because we want to give some space from this other one. So we give it 50. So as you can see, I give a lot of space here. So let's say, let me give it on. I just need some spacing, more space. Okay, this space is okay. So from here now, I can just say, let me just give it, because I want it to be a kind of clickable button. So I can just come here, add link, so it's not going anywhere, add hash. So it makes it look like a link. Make it look like a link. So now I want to do one thing. So I don't want this port to be the same size with this one. So I want this one to be, I want this parent container to be 40%. So I need to come to the size percent. I give it 40. So this empty one, I call it, and I give it 60%. So with that, we can have what we want. So I don't want this text to be this long, or you can just leave it the way it is. So let me just leave it the way it is. So let me not publish it yet. So the next thing I want to do is, you can see that we automatically achieve this. We automatically achieve this. So I want to build everything entirely using without using any of these other elements. So we want to build everything based on atomic elements. That's the purpose of this particular tutorial. So you need to notice one thing, that this font here doesn't have the same size with this one. So if we use tools like word fonts and check, you notice that this is 600, and I think, okay, this one has the same font width, is 600, but I think this one doesn't have the same font width because it look as this one deteriorates a bit. But never mind, I think it's still the same thing. Maybe it's just how I'm looking at it. It's just how I'm looking at it. So okay, that's that for this. So you can see that now we drag this thing closer, but this is not how it should be. So let's fix this. Let's fix this particular stuff here. So for me to be able to fix the width size of this container, I already created a size called class name. I created a class name called call width. So if I click on this, it did only one thing, and that one thing is to make sure that this thing have 90% of the entire width. So I need to go back to the main hero and centralize everything. So if you can see now, everything aligns well. It doesn't jam at the extreme here, it doesn't jam at the end here. So it's now centralized, like it has the line, it gives some space to the left and to the right. So okay, without much ado, I need to do the same thing here. Just need to call that class. So this is the beauty of atomic elements. Yes, we also have this, but we have this kind of stuff in the normal Elementor widgets, but I think these ones are more light. These ones are more lighter than the ones we had before. So from here now, what we need to do is to give some spaces. So for the spaces, we need to come here and let's say we give it 40, just to go down a bit, or let's say 60, because we need more space. So we are done with this particular piece here. We are done with it. So the next thing we are going to do is just to come down and, sorry, let me close this, just to design this. So I'm going to use this thing, Elementor atomic form, to design these stuffs here. So what I'm going to do is very simple. I need to just come here, bring in a box. So within this box, I need to create 4 boxes. Don't mind me, I will close some of those boxes. So before that, let me add a background color here. Oh, oh. Never mind. Let me remove that. So why that happened is because I was still in this core class. So let me do it locally so that it only affects this. So okay, so we are here. So what we need to do is to design. So what we have here is just a location. We have location and we have this icon and we have this input for type location. So what we need to do is very simple here. So the first thing is to bring in heading. We bring in heading. So this heading, let's call it location. So we call it location. We go to typography. We use Hoppings and we give it 18 and the font width of 600. Let's give it 600. Font width of 600. That's okay. So the next thing we are going to bring in here is the form, atomic form. So we need to bring in the atomic form. So I bring in the atomic form. Never mind. Let's drag it in here. So we bring in the atomic form. So in the atomic form, we don't need all these things. We don't need all these things. So I need to take them out. So this is the atomic form. We don't need this. This atomic form. We don't need the label. Let's leave the inputs. We don't need this. 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 And we don't need this. And we don't need this. So basically this is just what we want. So but there is a problem. So the first thing I need to do is to go to space and make this automatically zero. So I don't want it to have any this thing. So after this, we need to do two things. So the first thing we need to do is to let's bring in the flex into the atomic form. So we bring in the flex into the atomic form. I want it to be inside. So inside, we now bring the elements, this input, inside the flex. We want it to be inside the flex. Mhm. So here we have it inside the flex. So the reason why we put it inside this flex is because we are going to add the icon here. So now what the next thing is to bring in the SVG. So when we bring in the SUV, I mean not the SVG. So this is the SVG. So let's just take it up because we want it to be in the line. So we bring in the location icon. So the location icon, we go to typography, change, okay, we can just leave it to what it is, or we can change it to navy blue. So the next thing we need to do here is to reduce the size. So the size as it was 24, 25, 25. So that's the size I'm going to use. So the next thing is to make sure that I align it well. So I align it well and go to the form, say enter, what was the content there? Enter location. You say enter location, say enter location, which is on text. We enter location. We don't have much to do this. So let's just go to typography and copies. Let's just leave this at 500. Yes, 600. I just want it to be a bit thicker. I will make this 16 or 15. Uh, just, let's have it that way. Okay, so that's how it's gonna be. Just pure black and the rest. So I don't need the border there. X has a border, so I don't need it. So I need to remove the border because I want to use a different method there. So I don't have anything there. So what I need to do now is to clean this up. So I'll come back to the spacing because I want to do one thing here. I will open this and I will drop this to 0. Up to 0, right to 0, left. We will leave that left to the 10 and bottom to 0. So the next thing we are going to do here is to come to effect. So from the effect we add a box shadow. So inside the box shadow, I will reduce this to let's say 3. I don't need it much, just reduce it to 3. And instead of this deep black, we drag it a bit up down there. So you can see that little shadow that we have here. So we have a little shadow, but it's still too much. Still too much. So let me see how I can reduce it. Mhm. Let's reduce it. I don't want it to be white. Just want it to be something nice. Okay. You can see now it's coming up. So I like that one. So I need to come back to border. So I give it border radius of 5 all around. So that's it. So you can type it. It's just kind of a simple shadow. So the next thing is to give some spaces here. So the spaces, I think I have a class name called FlexCore. Was that the class? I think that was a class it's for okay. So that's the class. I think it was showing something else. So I'll fix this. So I don't want to be going long up and down. So what I need to do is let me just delete this one and do copy and paste. Let me just do copy and paste. Duplication instead. Let's duplicate it. So the next thing there is property type. So I just change this to property type. And the next thing is price range. So we have put in price range and what's good big one. So the first thing here is all these things are drop downs. So the first thing I need to do is to so instead of input, so I will remove this icon and I will delete the input out. I'll delete the input. So I will now go to the form and bring in the select. So this is the select. I'll place the select there. So I will do the same thing here because I don't want to be going up and down. So okay, first before I do anything, let me just fix this. So I need to come back to the space in here, remove this one and give it 0. Then come back to this, let's just have what what was there, all types. So let's just add it all types, all types, all types. Sorry. So let's just have one. Let's call it duplex. Duplex, still duplex, still duplex, duplex. Okay, so we have that. So let's quickly style it. So I come to my typography, poppings, give it 16, and that was what we used here. Okay, it was 15,500. So I want everything to be in sync. So I need to use 15,500 so that everything looks the same. So okay, so we have this and we have that. So the next thing here is to there is no need for this. So we just reduce this to suit the color contrast of the other one. So okay. And the next thing we need to do is to remove the border. So we have border there. If I click away, you see that we have additional border line. Yeah, so we don't need the border line of the select option. So we need to close it. We don't need it none. So if we now check, you can see that now we maintain the one on the container, which is the shadow, not actually border, is the shadow. So we have this, so we don't need this. So let's just delete this, delete this, and copy this and paste it here. Paste it here. As a problem, copy, paste. Okay, don't need problem. So we copy, we drag, delete. Now what's the problem? Why is it not accepting to be here? Doesn't want to be here. Okay. If that's the case, then let's just delete this one so that we will not stress much on this. So don't know why it's not working. So what we have here was what range is it price range. I don't know what we have here. And here was Oh, yes. So what we're going to do here is, what do we have here? So we have min and max. So min and max. So what we need to do is very simple. We come here, we do the min, and we do the max. So inside this, we can say 1 million to 5 million. So the same thing here, 1 M to 5 M. So that's it. So the next one here is room. So what we have there is any. So that for here, just put any. So right down here we can say one. Let's say one. So since we don't need much, we just stick to only that one for now. So we have this. So I think this is too much. This thing is too much. Let me reduce it to 16. So I think I like this. So let me just use the star all through. Just use the star all through. So this is good. I like that. So the next thing here is to add the button. So I don't want to add the normal form button since we are not sending it anyway. So what I want to do is to bring in this button. Or let me just copy this one and paste it. So copy this one and paste it. So what do we have here? Search property. So search property is what, okay, we have property. So just remove this and put search. I think this should be capital P. That should be capital P. Same thing here. Let's capital P. So we have this. So let me make this thing align. So I need to come back to my layout and align everything together. Make sure everything is well aligned together, and at the same time give them some spacing because I love spacing. So you can see how beautiful the spacing is. We have this one, we have this one, we have the spacing. So the next thing is, that is okay. Let's change the color. Let's change the color to the counter background color. So we change it to the navy blue that we had here. And that is it. So this is exactly what we designed. So okay, there is a problem here. I didn't put some border radius here. I need to add this border radius. So I need to come back here, scroll down to border, give it border radius of 5. So let's do something a little bit tricky here. Let's give it 20. So we want it a little bit big. So that's what we're adding up to it. So this button, I think there is a problem with that button. So this button, what I need to do is to just make it work fine. So it's to come to the spacing. So this is where the problem is. So let me reduce this to 30, 80. So we have the button, we have this. So now this is basically what we designed earlier. So I think this thing is too bold. Let me just reduce it at 600. Is it my eye? Topography is still on 600. 600. I think it's doing it that way. So mind you, I'm not working on the. So let's work on the responsive aspect of it. So as you can see, we are almost done on the site. We are almost done. In fact, we are done because this is the design. This is the design. So the next thing we want to do is to fix. Let's see how it look. We are not going to work on the header responsiveness, just how this looks on a mobile view. Because the header we did not do the actual header, so we just do something to use for this tutorial. So, so what we need to do is very simple. Since we have this, so we need to come in here and where's the spacing? The spacing should break this out. So this can give this 100 so that it's come out from the header section, or we can give it 120. So 120, you can see what we have here already. This string to itself already. So let's use this. So we have a problem with this. So what we need to do is to remove it on this screen. It's still there. So I think the problem is, yeah, let's see what we can do. So let's see that will fix it. No, it does not. Okay, so let's look for a solution to it. Solution. So come here, explain one. So we don't have it here. So this is what we have. On this screen, we don't have it. So if you go back, you'll see it here, but on this screen, we don't have it. So the next thing is to fix this. So for us to be able to fix this is very simple. We come to the sizing. So this is the main width, but we are going to use this. So let's set this to, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we have is 50% of each. So we copy these and I paste the same this in here. So at this junction, I need to reduce this to 25 because I want this thing to fit in. Then, so this is 25 and it's not fitting in. It's just going through. So I can just force it to be there, but I don't want it to be this way. So what I need to do is to make sure that this thing, all of them align together. So let me reduce this one, maybe 48. So I'm going to give all of them 48 all through. So 48, 48. So what we do here is to centralize this one. So this junction, we need to centralize it. Centralize this. So this one is now centralized. And these ones are now in twos. These ones are now in twos. So if we go to mobile, so this is normal mobile phone. So we need to reduce the phones again to 50. I will just say 40 and do the same thing here to 40. And for this, leave it at 100. And look for its topography and give it 14. So you can see, so I need to gather some things. So I need to remove the spacing here. I remove the spacing so that we can have a, and remove it here as well. So I don't really need spacing on this because this one already give all the spacing. So don't mind the logo that is here. Maybe I will look for a way I'll fix it so we don't see it. So on this one, you need to flex this and reduce this to 20. Reduce it to 20. You can use this like this. So the next thing is this. Since this is 2048, so we return it back to 100 or 100. So reduce it back to 100. You can see everything works perfectly fine. So let me fix this. So what I will do here is, let me save. So what I will do on the header is very simple. I need to come here to style. So because let me just hide it on mobile. So it will not be there on mobile. You can see it's not there on mobile here. So let's use it that way for now. So this is a very simple landing page that works perfectly on tablet, desktop, and mobile phone. So what is your rating? Thank you for watching. So if you like videos like this, you are going to build a lot of things using atomic element. So like, share, comment. If you have anything that you feel, oh, this was not done perfectly well, you are free to comment. Send us that comment. We will look into it. We will really appreciate you. Thank you for watching.